Hello everyone, I'm Weston's Weatherwise, and in today's video we break down the upcoming severe weather coming to the United States over the course of the next few days, along with is a major hurricane inbound. I will break that all down in today's video. Now, before we get started, you may notice our overlays on the side look a bit different, and that is because I am trying out Streamlabs for recording, as it appears to be a lot less laggy, so that is a better sign. So now as we dive right into things, we do actually have a slight risk of severe weather in play anywhere from portions of Colorado into Kansas, Texas, and Oklahoma and New Mexico until decently large, then a very large marginal risk extending from portions of Michigan and Wisconsin back into portions of Texas and New Mexico. And we do actually have a small marginal risk down here in Arizona that we will have to keep an eye on. And we do actually have a 2% tornado risk outlined for today. We're definitely keeping a close eye on this, although I would not rule out a brief tornado around this area, maybe a bit further to the north. So I do think, obviously, this is the greatest corridor today, but I do think this corridor does have a chance at seeing a brief spin up. Now, moving on to our wind outlook, we do have a 15% wind risk and a 15% hail risk today. Moving on to tomorrow, severe weather dies down. We have two marginal risks in play, one over here in Texas and New Mexico and another up here in portions of North Dakota and Minnesota. And luckily for tomorrow, no tornado outlook. We do have a 5% wind and a 5% hail. And then it gets even better. On Tuesday, we have no severe outlook anywhere in the United States, although I do anticipate a upgrade to a marginal risk somewhere. Now, moving on to models and what radar could look like this afternoon. And this is here in the Central Plains here. And if we go ahead and take a look here, we can see that we could get a few storms to fire up here in Colorado in the next couple hours, and these definitely could be intense. And as we move forward, we actually see some of these storms pop up here in portions of Missouri, Oklahoma, and Kansas, and these they aren't as intense here, and I do actually think the newest run is rendering in. So actually, if I go and pull that up real fast, yes, 20Z is actually fully in, so I'll switch over to that. So here it is. You see storms are going to go up within the next 3 hours, and a few may be quite intense. And I do think that we could actually get a corridor here in Kansas and far northern Oklahoma that we may be able to see a brief tornado. It would be a very slim chance in a very narrow corridor. But we do actually see a pretty intense damaging wind event take place as it pushes to the east. And as these push to the east, they are going to die off, but they are going to bring excessive rainfall. Now, moving on to what radar could look like a bit further to the east. And you can tell we could see a few scattered storms that are actually currently going on. And they could bring a isolated damaging wind and hail risk. Now, moving on to what radar may look like tomorrow in the northern plains. And, well, tomorrow we could be looking at a few storms to pop up, maybe drop down from Canada. That could bring an isolated marginal hail and wind threat, but tornado threat is near zero. And this is what radar could look like tomorrow back here in New Mexico and Texas. And same thing. Few storms are going to fire up. Could see a isolated damaging wind and hail threat. Maybe a brief tornado threat out of any storm that could maybe stay a bit more discreet. We may see a brief tornado threat evolve, but overall nothing crazy. And one thing I did want to touch on is how much rain is going to fall just here overnight from this storm system. Anywhere from Wyoming back into Oklahoma and Missouri. But here, this corridor along southern Kansas does look to have the most intense rainfall come out of it. And that is actually why we do actually have a moderate risk of excessive rainfall in play. Yes, you heard me right. A moderate risk of excessive rainfall is in play today, with a large slight risk outside of that. So we are definitely going to have to watch flooding threat today, as we are going to see storms terrain across the same areas and be super slow moving. So turn around, don't drown. Now moving on to the GFS and what our jet stream may look like as we move through August here. You can tell it does look to stay extremely far to the north like it has been all summer. And overall, I don't anticipate any change until beginning of September, and that is when you could expect that cool off to occur. As you can tell here, as we get later into August, our jet stream does actually return a bit further to the south, and that would be where our cool off could occur. So definitely gonna have to watch it, but likely it would have to be at the end of August is whenever we see that major cool down. Here's what radar could look like. And if I go ahead and move it forward to Tuesday, you can tell here we could see some storms back here in Oklahoma. So we may see a marginal risk back in Oklahoma again. But overall, nothing too intense looks to occur over the month of August, which is a good thing. But I do think as we head into September and even October, we could see a uptick in severe weather again. And not only that, the tropics are going to be heating up here soon. And we are actually going to go over that here in a moment. And here's what the European model is showing, and it is practically showing that same thing. Jet stream is staying extremely far to the north, and it likely won't return until late August. And radar is showing that same thing. Now, one thing I did want to watch is Tuesday again, as it does look like it would likely just be rain showers back there in Oklahoma, but we could get an isolated strong to severe thunderstorm. So we are just going to have to watch it very closely. Now moving on to the tropical outlook, and I bet you this is why you are watching this video based on the thumbnail. And we actually have two areas of development we're watching. One out here in parts of the Atlantic, northern Atlantic, and another one here off the western coast of Africa. And it looks very, very weird and elongated, this area of development. And it has a 90% chance of development in 7 days and 50% in the next 48 hours. And this could definitely cause big time problems. Here's what the GFS shows. And so this is our system currently. And if we go and look on the GFS, what it expects to happen, it expects it to develop as early as tonight into a tropical storm, and it continues to march, and this could definitely become a major hurricane. As you can see here, 954 millibar low. But the thing is it goes off as a fish storm, it looks like. And I just want to say that there have been multiple models that have taken this from here off the west coast of Africa up through Florida, up through the Gulf into Texas, Louisiana, up through the Northeast, up just as a fish storm. Lots of outcomes are possible out of this, and we will only know what exactly is going to happen as we get closer. And here's what the European model shows. It shows that same thing. It could develop as early as tonight, and it has it becoming a potential major hurricane too. Now, let's go ahead and look at 0Z and see if I can go out farther. Yes, 0Z shows that same thing, and it shows it going off as a fish storm. So we're definitely watching it closely, but this has been a very consistent signal, and we just have a bit of uncertainty on where it is going to hit and if it is going to make landfall. But this is the first legitimate chance at landfall to any United States areas. And this is the CMC model. I don't usually look at this much, but it is another model that has been showing this hurricane. And this one actually has it coming a bit closer to land. So we're definitely watching this closely. And it also has it becoming a major hurricane. And I really can't go out any farther. So we're just having to watch this. But this could impact the Northeast. I've been seeing a lot of things. The Northeast may be overdue for a major hurricane. So we're definitely going to have to watch this closely. And here's the icon model. I don't usually show this much either. But as we move forward, it has it developing too. And now it does not have it developing really into a major hurricane or even maybe even a hurricane at all, but it definitely has it staying to the east coast of the United States. So right now, fish storm, yes. But could that change? Yes. So I will update you with the latest. Now here's the GEFS, and this is something big too that we have to watch for. And these oranges that we're going to see right here show all the possible outcomes here. And you can tell multiple show it going off as a fish storm. There's a few that have it going through Florida, others through the Northeast. So there are plenty of outcomes that could come out of this, and we just have to watch this extremely closely. And I don't need that pulled up. This is what I want pulled up. So here is the short track of what the spaghetti models are showing. You can tell have it developing and kind of turning to the northeast, east-northeast, and that would likely be the spaghetti model. Those are what the spaghetti models are showing. That would likely cause the fish storm. And moving it forward some, this is a bit farther out. You can see it has it going off as a fish storm. Most of them, you can tell here, some of these ones do actually have it going to the west. And that is something that we'll definitely have to watch, because if that happens, that could impact the United States. And a bit further out, you can tell a lot of these actually have it coming pretty close to the United States. More of them have it coming close or through the United States than not. So we are watching this extremely closely. And here's what it shows throughout all these models and what they have it reaching in terms of intensity. You can tell we do have a model showing it reaches Cat 4 intensity, a few showing Cat 3. But our best bet out of this would be anywhere from Cat 3 to Cat 2. So we're definitely have to watch it. Definitely could be a major hurricane. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching. And we are actually one sub from 1,060 subscribers. So thank you guys so much. And if you did get this far, please consider dropping a like and subscribing. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.